Disclaimer. Before I begin, I do want to inform you that I go hard and real with what I'm about to say on this episode. If you cannot handle the truth, my sense of humor, sarcasm, and explicit language, then I advise you to not listen. This episode will contain words that may be triggering and may have graphic details, so listen per your discretion. Without further ado, sit back and enjoy.
Welcome back to another episode of Yours Druelee. It is I, your one and only host, Druelee, of course. If you are just joining in on this episode, you might have missed the previous episode, which is episode 17. I would advise for you to listen to that first. That way you have a clear understanding as to why I'm going to be talking about this specific topic on this episode. So this topic will be on sex. Who doesn't want to talk about sex? Now, to specifically add onto my disclaimer, if you are under 18 years old, if you get shy and offensive when it comes to the topic of sex, or if your ears are super duper sensitive, then I'd advise you to exit out of this episode. Like, really. I'll give you a couple of seconds to leave. Starting now. Okay, for those remaining, thank you so much for having an understanding and being an open-minded person when it comes to talking about sex. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I enjoy talking about sex. I mean, who doesn't? There's so much to learn when it comes to knowing and actually performing. However, touching base off of my last episode, I mentioned that while I was married, I didn't realize that I can still be my own individual self, meaning that I can have my very own mindset. My emotions also needed to be valid, and my boundaries matters. Just because I was married, that doesn't mean that I stop who I am as a person and give all of myself for the sake of my husband. And that also includes what happens in the bedroom. So, ladies and gents, when you're married, you don't stop being who you are as a person. You still have your individual life. And because you have another person doing life with you, you also have to balance that. So that's what I learned. And because of that, it also pertains to what goes on in the bedroom. So yes, ladies, did you know that you too can have pleasure and not just your man only? You are allowed to receive any pleasure you desire and not give those pleasures only to your man. You too can come and bust a nut, okay? So I didn't realize that sex also matters to me, and that instead of just pleasuring the ex-husband at the time, I also need some pleasure in myself too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta get some pleasure before, she can satisfy her husband, right? So I didn't realize that until I started listening to podcasts during the time I was still married. Me having a curious mind and being depleted of sex, sad thing. But sex wasn't a regular thing in my marriage. And honestly, I have to say that I do have a higher sex drive. And sometimes I wasn't getting any. Very sad. It came to the point where I stopped asking and I'd rather have sex on his turn. Stupid, I know. But after researching on Spotify, on podcasts pertaining to sex, and I was just curious. So you guys listening, don't fucking judge me, okay? I was just curious. I know plenty of you guys were curious, but I stumbled upon this podcast called Good Girls Talk About Sex, hosted by Leah Carey. She is a sex and intimacy coach, and her podcast is based off of interviewing women of all age, color, sex, and background in regards to their very own experience in sex. And majority of them have similar experience as I did when it comes to sex. Their first time having sex, being a late bloomer and being a virgin for a long period of time, you name it. I thought I was the only one in this fucking world to experience not receiving pleasure from my partner. My parents not educating me and my siblings about sex, and even religion. Yes, religion played a role in me saving myself from my husband, meaning that I couldn't have sex until marriage. Don't worry, guys. I'll definitely do a separate episode on how religion had molded me as a person when it came to marriage, sex, and divorce. There is so much to unfold when it comes to it. So make sure you guys keep listening, because the topic of going to church and how it influenced me is another episode you don't want to miss out on. So stay tuned for that. But staying back on track, make sure you guys listen to the Good Girls Talk About Sex podcast by Leah Carey, as I find it very intriguing. And for those ladies out there who is curious about sex and the curiosity of other women and their sex experiences, please do listen. So what do I mean when I say good girls finish last? Well, there is a similar saying about good guys finishing last, and that's only pertaining to them having the leftover choice from good-looking women they are trying to get into a relationship with. When I say good girl finish last, I mean we do finish last. In bed. Okay? In bed. Now, some of y'all who know me are thinking, Drew, why are you exposing yourself to the public about your sex life? And that's something you shouldn't even talk about in the open. Well, for one, if you've been following me and listening from the beginning of my podcast, you will know that I've been through so much shit. And as I was going to mention, I'm going to keep mentioning that, I come to a point in my life where I have nothing to hide. I realized that when you use your own experience and tell it to the whole world, then they tend to believe you because you lived through it, okay? And also, if you haven't noticed, that's just who I am. I'm very blunt. I tell how it is. I'm very truthful. I'm very honest. I'm just going to say it the way it is, and I don't mean to offend nobody, okay? But this is just my personal opinion. This is what I'm thinking about in the moment, and I'm just going to tell how it is. And also, the people that were in my life, they're no longer in my life no more, so they don't exist ever. I mean, they're still alive or whatever, if they are alive, but in the present time, they're not in my life anymore, so I can give a shit rats of what they're doing, okay? But because of them, I'm still alive and I'm telling my story, okay? So if you're the type of person who are going to judge me because I'm so open about this, hello, it's 2023 now. Hello. People out there are coming out with their podcasts talking about sex and a whole bunch of taboo topics that a lot of people don't want to talk about, So instead of making sex be a negative, why don't we just make it into a positive thing? You know what I'm saying? That, it's okay to talk about sex. It's okay to educate, because that's one of the reasons why I started this podcast, is to educate and inform those who are currently going through the same shit that I did. So with that being said, please do not judge me, because I'm not going to judge you. I am just telling you my story. And like I said at the beginning of this episode, who doesn't want to talk about sex? Because I'm pretty sure y'all want to tune in. I wouldn't be surprised if this episode has a lot of views, because sex is the most popular thing. Okay. And that's something that is important to a lot of people's life too. So I'm not going to talk in detail as to what I did, what position I did, or none of that, because that shit don't even matter. What I'm trying to tell you on this episode is that me being a good girl, okay? Me being a good girl, and I'm pretty sure there's plenty of you ladies out there who are good girls, who went to church, who listened to your mom and your dad's words, especially in the Asian culture, in my Hmong culture. My parents, and I'm pretty sure a lot of Hmong parents, will tell their daughters to not getting into a relationship, because if you do, you'll have sex with your boyfriend, and you have sex with your boyfriend, then you're forced to marry your boyfriend, and if not, then you bring shame to the family. And what if he doesn't want you, and you end up being a single mom? They embed so much of these negative things in your head. And for me, growing up, I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't want to get married young. I don't want to get forced to get married because I'm pregnant. I don't want to be a single mom, because what happens if he doesn't want to be with me anymore and he up and left me and my baby? I don't want any of that stuff. So, and also because of religion too, they teach you in church to save yourself. Do not have sex with a man unless he's your husband. So you have to wait until you are married first to have sex. And if you don't, then you sin against God. And that's also like bringing shame to you. Guys bringing shame to you. Yeah, you guys, a lot of, I would say, negative, scary shit that church and family embed in my mind. And so that's why I just didn't even have sex until later on, okay? And, I thought that I was one of those people that will will save myself until marriage. But your girl couldn't even do it, okay? I'm just being honest, okay? Y'all can hate me all y'all want, but yes, I couldn't do it. So, with that being said, that was my experience, okay? And so, fast forward. I'm not gonna talk too much about it just because I want to have a separate episode specifically on that. But fast forward to being a good girl, okay? Me being a good girl, that's what I followed through. And of course, in a culture, they teach you to cater to your husband. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the episode, if you listen to episode 17, I'll talk a lot about that, where, my culture, they teach their daughters to cook and clean and cater to their husband. Nowadays, you can get educated, but before then, like, education wasn't all that, but basically, your purpose in life as a Hmong woman was to just cater to your husband. That's it. And pretty much you yourself don't matter. And I realized after divorce that, I do matter too. Like, my career matters, the way that I think, my boundaries, my, everything about me, it matters too, and I felt like that's one of the things that my culture, or even other cultures out there, that's like a downfall on them, is that, why are they teaching their daughters or women that they don't matter? Because we all do matter. And then I have to think about it, like, when it comes to that, like, even when it comes to sex, like, I just felt like my pleasure wasn't met at all too. My thing was that, okay, you're supposed to be intimate with your husband, and that's it. Once he comes, then you're good, and that's it, but I'm being very transparent, and I'm just telling you guys how it is, just because I'm sure there's plenty of you ladies out there, or men out there, who experience the same thing, where you are intimate with your partner, but, once he busts a nut or whatever, right? Once he comes, then that's it, Some guys are not really good at performing, and that's all you guys. But my experience, I will have to be honest with you guys that the past 10 years of my relationship with Lost Boy, not once has he ever made me come. I know, it's really sad, right? And the fact that he hasn't done that, it's kind of like, well, damn, I'm missing out then. You know what I'm saying? You guys, this is like very like vulnerable for me to tell you guys, but I do know that this will help those who are struggling the same way as I was struggling. And to know that just because you're having sex with your partner, that doesn't really mean much. If you're pleasuring him only, I'm talking pertaining to the woman, okay? Sorry guys, I'm talking to my females out here, okay? But just letting you guys know, ladies, that just because you're having sex with your husband or your partner, okay, and he happens to come, and then it turns out that you didn't get your pleasure, for me, I feel that that's not fair at all. That's not fair. And I, like I told you guys, like, in my experience, not once had he ever made me come. I've made myself come personally, just because I know my body, but for to have someone else to make you come, it's like, I would like to experience that, but within that marriage, no, it didn't really happen. And I felt like sex was just more like a hit and quit, and that's it, and us women, we want to, once we're done fucking, we want to have like a hugging session, like a hug from our partner, have like small talks and conversations, like did I please you well, or what could I have done better? And I feel like a lot of men, they don't do that. Like there's a small percentage of men that would do that, that would, cater to the woman. And maybe I'm just like thinking too much. I don't know. But I've heard stories where some men will actually do that, where they will cater to you, make sure that you're okay. And they make sure to please you too, but my experience, none of that. And I honestly feel like it was more like just masturbating. Like a guy is just masturbating. It was like I want the intimacy. I want like the good love making. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want just a hit and quit it and that's it. It's kind of like him just masturbating, busting a nut, and that's it. But yeah, and that's why I was like, like for us women who values our body and value ourselves and value sex, and when you're in a relationship with someone who, don't give a shit, as long as they get their pleasure, then they're good. It's kind of like, well, that's not fair to me too. And then when I want sex and you don't want it, it's kind of like, so then I can only have sex if you're up for it. And that's not fair, So like I told you guys, I'm one of those people that have a higher sex drive, and I'm not ashamed to say it, Yeah, it was a struggle for me. And then after I divorced and, listening to that podcast and, I realized that, yeah, my sex experience wasn't all that, and, people say that when you break up, and you only had like, I don't know, one dick throughout your whole life, right? One dick throughout your life. You should just go out and explore, try all the colors of the rainbow, try the longest one, the shortest one, the thick and wide, whatever, right? Yes, like it sounds nice. It sounds nice to do that. And you guys, this is personally my opinion, okay? No shades to anyone that does whatever that I'm about to say, but people say that, yeah, like it's a norm for people to tell you that go fuck another dick so that you can like experience, basically have your own whole phase, But for me, as much as I would think I will need it or want it, or like the the chance of being single and trying every flavor of the rainbow, it's like, damn, that would be nice, It would be nice to just have my whole face, But you guys, I have to say that, it's been like 2 years and a couple months now already, right? Yeah, your girl haven't gotten to try the Skittles, okay? She hasn't tried any of the Skittles flavor just because, I do have to say that me growing up in a church, I still kind of follow a little bit of it, just because I do value my body. And I'm not saying that for those who have their whole phase and they go out and fuck around and try the Skittles and all that stuff and like, go do you, like I will live through your stories, like I would just imagine me be the one doing all that. But realistically, I just can't do that just because, of course, believing in God and understanding that, my body is a temple and I do value my body. Like I'm not going to just easily give up my body to anyone like that, Also, I'm very spiritual myself and, I voice that to you guys that I'm very spiritual. And I do believe that when you do have intercourse with another being or another person, you both do exchange energy. And if you happen to have sex with someone who has really bad energy, it's gonna be real hard to let go of that person. Like, especially when you guys hear from families and friends saying that, why can't she leave him? Oh, she's only with him because of the dick, the devil dick or whatever, right? Well, it's because of the energy, the toxic energy that they both exchange, and, trust me, like, it was really hard for me to leave Lost Boy just because of that. But then when I think about it, was it even worth it to stay this long just because of sex? And my answer would be no, it wasn't worth it. Okay. It wasn't worth it because the dick wasn't all that. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, I can't help it if I'm being too blunt. Okay, maybe I need to science my voice or something. I don't know, but I'm just telling you guys the truth. Okay, because if nobody gonna tell you guys the truth, then nobody's gonna say anything. I'll be the first. Like, honestly, the dick wasn't worth it. That's why it was like, yeah, like it wasn't. It wasn't worth it. I'm sorry. Not sorry. Okay. Just because, again, as an individual, as a woman, like, I want to be pleasure too. And I'm pretty sure there's plenty of you ladies out there who want to be pleasure as well too. And men, it's not all about you. My thing is that if you're able to please your woman first and she got what she needed, I'm pretty sure she'll give you the best time of your motherfucking life, okay? It's just, depending on where you grew up, the families and friends that you were involved with, like, maybe you don't know anything about sex, or maybe you know a whole lot and you got it. I don't know. But for me, I'm very curious and I always wanted to figure shit out, and me being a type of person that loves to research things about like taboo things, and sex is like a taboo thing in my culture. Like, we don't talk about sex at all. And so me being a curious little brain of mine, like, I went out there, listened to podcasts, I did my research, and yeah, I just came about, realizing that, effective communication is good when it comes to sex. If you don't tell your partner how to please you in a certain way, because you know your body well enough, and the person that you're with, they don't know. And so it's okay to communicate, to tell a person what you like, what you don't like, but at the same time respect each other. If this person don't want to do certain things when it comes to the bedroom, then don't do it. But that doesn't give you an excuse to find somebody else to give you that. Because the way I see it is that, people who cheat, okay, I'm going back to the cheating phase, okay? People who cheat on their partner because the partner aren't giving them the things that they need, you're just wasting your time just because you're basically just masturbating. That's it. It's like people don't realize that sex is more than just like having that feeling. Like, don't you want that intimate love making? Don't you want to like devour your partner's soul, and that when that person leaves your house or whatever, that they didn't really leave the house, they're actually inside of your I know I'm going super deep and dark, but that's the kind of love that I want that I want to make, okay? And just because you can't find it through your partner and you decide to find it through someone else, then don't be in a monogamy relationship. You might as well be in a polyamory relationship. Be in an open relationship. That way you have a variety of partners for certain things, That's you, but for those who doesn't want to do that and you're okay just being with one person, respecting each other, respecting each other when it comes to your sex life, then that's even better, But I don't know. I just can't deal with people who just cheat because, they're not getting the things that they need in the bedroom. It's like, well, you got a voice, you have a mouth, you have to communicate that with your partner. And if they don't want to do it, then they're not going to do it, And then you happen to cheat just because they're not pleasing you sexually. Don't be in a committed relationship. Just be in an open relationship and have multiple partners for multiple things. That's it. And if that's what you want to do, good, but I don't know, like there's so much that goes through this, but overall, what I'm trying to tell you guys, especially the men out there who are listening, just because you're busting a nut, just remember, us women want to bust nut too, okay? We want to have our pleasure too, and there's plenty of good girls out there who, value themselves, value their body, and they're not going to sleep around and, just give it up like that. I mean, there's some women out there, they are doing that, which is totally fine, like, you do you. But for me, like I mentioned, I just don't do it just because I grew up in a Christian family, in a Christian belief, and I do still believe in that, and I mean, one day if I meet someone, sure, oh, of course, but I have to be able to trust this person, okay? My thing is that I'm not going to like fully like be hardcore. Yeah, I'm not gonna like have sex with any guys until we're married. No, my I don't know. So some people will believe it, some people don't. But for me personally, if I meet a guy and I trust him, I feel safe with him, sure, but I'm just not gonna give it up like that easily. I'm not gonna give it up on the first date. Like, first of all, I don't fucking know you, so what makes you think that you can like have a piece of me? Hell the fuck no. Also, I'm not about to get no disease because some people are lucky not to have disease, but for me, I don't want to do that because let's say that I did do that. Okay, let's say I did want to have a whole phase and I fucked a guy, and then the next day, oh, I have HIV or STD. Damn. So much for having a whole phase. You know what I'm saying? Like, just to lighten up, but that's one of the reasons why I don't want to do that. And also, I don't want to get pregnant. I don't want to get pregnant and then somehow, I don't know who the father of the baby is, or if I knew who the father of the baby is, what if he doesn't want to commit or he doesn't want to help me take care of our baby? So I'd rather not have casual sex like that. That's just not me. But for those who want to do that, be safe. That's all I say. And if you want to have fun, sure. But for me, that's just not what I want to do. But from that, like, just because we are good girls, that doesn't mean that we don't want pleasure. We do want pleasure. It's just that we grew up having a lot of people embedding us all these information to scare us, and if we are doing certain things that we're not comfortable with or things that we haven't tried, you men, you guys had to be patient with us, or at least teach us, and ladies, you have to also speak up too, because you can't just expect a guy to just know how to please you. That's something that I didn't realize until after divorce, that I can speak up and I can teach him how to please me, and it's just that I didn't know better. But now that I know, the next time I'm with the next man or next partner, then yes, of course, communication will be effective, but I don't know, you guys, like, I know there's plenty of good guys out there, who's also finishing last in the bedroom. Maybe. I haven't heard much, but if there are, please let me know, because that could be like a discussion that we can talk about and, bring awareness to everyone. And currently, I hope that not a lot of guys listen to this episode. I just hope not a lot of guys who listen to this episode, because I am spilling out so much shit about me that people don't need to know about, But for those who are listening, I'm very grateful that you've decided to listen to this episode. And there will be a lot more topics about sex, but specifically, I just wanted to let you guys know that, I grew up being a good girl and I didn't have a voice of my own. And when it came to sex in marriage, it was really dull and wasn't satisfying at all. I'm not going to go into details because you guys don't need to know, but just know that, ladies, you also have to communicate with your partner that you want to be pleasured. It's okay. And men, you need to listen as well too. And if there's certain things that you both don't like to do, respect that and don't do it. If you want to do it, but your partner don't want to perform or give that sexual pleasure to you, and you decide to go somewhere else outside of the relationship, then don't be in a serious relationship and just be in an open relationship, because you're just wasting your time and you're wasting your person's time as well too. So with that, currently, I know I'm such a good girl, right? Currently, I am abstaining from sex. And as much as I have like cravings and all that stuff, but I'm like, nope. I'm just going to keep all of that to myself. And I'm just going to continue, doing what I do best, which is creating episodes for you guys, informing you guys about a whole bunch of taboo topics. If I happen to meet that person, sure. But in the meantime, I don't care if there's plenty of you guys out there saying, oh my God, why would you wait? Why would you abstain from sex? Yada, yada, yada. Like I told you guys, I have my reasons and I already told you what those reasons are, okay? And that's my own personal preference. That's me doing it for myself. I'm not doing it for anyone. And if you're a man who have an interest in me and you happen to stumble upon this episode, don't fucking use or try to like manipulate me into like giving away my V card, because I'm not giving that for free. Okay, if you want it, you better fucking earn it. Sorry, not sorry. Yes, so currently I'm just abstaining from sex, and I just want to focus on myself. And overall, I want a meaningful relationship. I don't want a relationship where it was the same as my previous relationship, but also like sex is just not all that, like there's more to it than just sex. It's an add-on to the relationship, but then there's something a lot more important than just that. And again, I can always elaborate more on that on a different episode. But with that being said, I just want this episode to just give you guys a glimpse of my thought of sex when it comes to being a good girl, and that there's plenty of us that are saving ourselves and are protecting our body and protecting our V card, and we're abstaining because we choose to do that. But for those who choose to, go out there, try a variety of Skittles, the colors of the rainbow, go do you. But I advise you to be safe, protect yourself, have fun, but at the same time, communicate as well. But other than that, that is all that I have for this episode. I don't know how long it is, but I think it's long enough. But other than that, I just want to say Happy New Year's. I posted a TikTok video of myself telling you guys to be responsible adults and all that stuff, right? Yeah. Your girl had too much to drink. I don't think I made it to the New Year's. Let's just say that I had a good time. Okay, I had a good time. Not a good way to end the year and start the year. But, I feel like this year is going to be full of craziness. Full of good things and bad things, a lot of like crazy shit. Like I can just feel it, a lot of intense emotion, like deep emotions that I will be, showing a lot more for this year, because I don't know, it's just weird because like, back in 2020, of course, pandemic happened and then got divorced. 2021 was about me being in my feelings, because I'm really good at hiding my emotions, you guys. And so I realized that year was a year for me to pick myself up, to cry when I need to cry, and be in my emotions and figure out who I am as a person, what I want for myself, and what I learned from my previous relationship into what I want in my new relationship. 2022 was a year for me to find my niche, which was, again, my nail business. And I'm definitely going to work hard this year on that. And of course, this podcast as well, too. So definitely did that. And I don't know, last year was just all about, I know what I want in life. This is the direction that I want to go to. And I did that. And now this year is all about finances, being a boss ass bitch, kicking my business up, and also getting my finance correctly too. Save money, work extra hours just so that I can travel and pay off my bills, pay off my debt, and maybe, who knows, I might get more money this year. I don't know. But I feel that for this year. And also I do feel a lot of like intense emotional feelings I don't know what it is, but I don't know. For some reason, I've been feeling that this year is going to be a year where I'm actually going to dive very deep into my emotions. A lot of things will appear in the surface. I don't know what it is, but maybe I'll meet people along the way where I'm going to expose who I truly am on the inside, which is a good thing, not a bad thing, but a good thing. I don't know. But this year is also going to be my year as well too. It's everybody's year, you know. But overall, what I'm trying to say is that each year was a different year, and the way I see it, it's all good things. It's all good things, you guys. So I just want to wish you guys again a happy New Year's. I hope that you guys was able to stay up for the countdown, like me. But other than that, I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. Like I said, I would definitely do a lot more in depth on certain things about sex. Because again, there's so many things to talk about when it comes to sex, okay? And your girl will give you guys all of that information. But until then, I will see you guys on the next episode. Bye.